Hey everybody, this is Kelly of Rojo Chief Clothing, and on here, as you see, it's a comment that was put on Facebook, and it's by Michael Hampton, and it says, Muskogee, Oklahoma, where a Negro Indian cannot be lynched. It said March 6, 1926. It says Muskogee is in what was formerly the Indian Territory when the United States made the treaties with the Indian tribes, and it was agreed that every Indian should receive 160 acres of land in the Indian Territory. It is so happened that there were numbers of Indians who belonged to these tribes that were in reality Negro freemen or slaves of Indians. But we already know, I already made a video about that, talking about who are the freemen, and we know that all those Indians that they list as freemen were not slaves at all. Anyways, consequently, the sons of Ham came in for their share of the land upon the instance of Indian chiefs. Now, when they say sons of Hams, they're referring to Africans, people of African descent. Not saying that there weren't people that were enslaved or might have been enslaved by these different Indian nations. I'm pretty sure that there probably were some slaves there, but not to the extent of which they're saying and try to make people believe that so-called Negroes were only of African descent. Anyways, it says at the time, Oklahoma was known only as an agricultural section because no geological survey had been made. The white commissioners who had the job of appointing the land decided the rich level of farmland was too good and too valuable for Negroes. So when a real Indian would appear, and that's the last part that I have there, which basically we'll talk about, real Indians, which we know are basically us because we're known as Paleo Indians because of our, which, as you know, is Paleo Indian means ancient Indians, like Lucia and Naya, for instance, would be an example of that particular phenotype. So anyways, that's that. And I did a screenshot of this, and it says microfilm records in the National Archives catalog, and additional resources. Prior to the 1900s, few Indians were included in the Census Federal Census. Indians are not identified in the 1790 or through the 1840 censuses. It says in 1860, Indians living in the general population were identified for the first time. Nearly all of the 1890 census schedule were destroyed as a result of a fire of the Department of Commerce in 1921. It says beginning with the 1900 census, Indians are enumerated on reservations as well as in the general population. For information on other Bureau of Census Indian schedule, see American Indians and Bureau of the Census Records, selected records relating to the enumeration of the Pueblo Indians, 1790-1939. Now here, this is a part of a census record that I was looking at on Ancestry, and it says 1900 United States Federal, and then as you see here, it says head, and it says they got him listed as B, if I'm guessing for black, and then it says here that his name was William Hinton, his wife was Alice Hinton, his son was William, and then he had a daughter named Mary, a daughter named Alice, and a daughter named Millie Ann. And he also had some other children by the name of Aid, which is a son, Anna, the daughter, Ida, daughter, Toby, son, and then it looks like Lewis was grandson. But anyways, so Millie Ann, that was my great-grandmother, the mother of my grandfather, Ferris. Okay? So now I'm going to go on to another record. Now you see on this record here, I think this one was taken prior to, and my great-grandmother's father name was William Hinton, as you saw. And on here, it has him listed as MU for mulatto. Okay? So we see that right there. Okay. And right here, I have a relative named Charles Hinton, and they spelled it with a Y. And it said his residence was in June 29th, 1880. Residence location was Beat 4 in Hale, the city of Hale, I guess, in the state of Alabama. Or maybe it was the county, was called Hale County in Alabama. And it says the U.S. selected Federal Census non-population schedule. That's what it says. Now, looking at the details of this non-population federal schedule, right? And it says here, Charles Hinton. And it says here, he marked rents for fixed money rental. That's what he put there. And it says here, tilled, including fallow and grass and rotation. And it said 40. And it says on here that he was growing corn. This is 1879. All right. And it says Indian corn here. It says 35 for crop. It says area was 56 acres. That's what it appears that it was. So I guess it was so get that information right there. Okay, and then right here it says, cotton also. So basically, according to the census, that Charles Hinton, he was growing like multiple different things, what looks like Indian corn, cotton, and what it also had appeared to be oats as well. Now guys, this one was a screenshot that I had of a census dealing with my great-grandparents on my mother's side of the family, my grandmother's parents. And as you see here, it says Davis Tom, head, Eliza, the wife, Charles, son, Thomas, son, my grandmother, Lucy A., daughter, her brother, Melvin, and then Marshall, which is her other brother, and then his sister, F.E.W. Wallace. And then they had listed them all as Negro. And when you look on the right side, it says N-E-G. So we know that it's Negro, and we know that that was one of the names that they had called, or bywords, we should say, that they called the Indians. Alright guys, here's a picture of a rap artist called Mulatto. And this picture was taken by Genius. And Genius, they have lyrics that they verify that an artist have rapped. And on here it says, bitch from the soul. They had the official lyrics, and she basically verified those lyrics that they had on their website. Okay, so on here it says Mulatto, and this was a post that was posted by Shop Aborigine Apparel, and it's by a man named Cirrus Nation on Facebook. And it says, when you see the term mulatto on your ancestors' records, look for more records. Mulatto is code for American Indian. They classified many full-blooded American Indians as mulatto. And if there was a American Indian who had African features, they just assumed he was a mulatto and wrote it down. And from the book Africans and Native Americans by Jack Forbes. Okay, mulatto, a name given to the Indians, to those who are begotten by a Negro and an Indian, or Indian woman and an Indian man, or a Negro woman. Encyclopedia Britannica, or a Dictionary of Arts and Sciences, 1770. In any case, I discovered that Native American descendants had been legally defined as mulattoes in Virginia in 1705. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. So basically, he just told you straight up that American Indians, which they, had them classified or noted as Native Americans in his passage, that they were being called mulattoes legally in 1705. So that's when they started. Well, that's not when they started, but it was, one of the terms that they was using for full-blooded Indians to basically to try to disenfranchise them in the state of Virginia. And then it went on to say, without having any African ancestry. So an Indian would have been referred to as mulatto even if they were full-blooded and did not have any African ancestry. And it says, thus I knew that the dictionaries were wrong, and that there was a lot that was hidden from view by the way most authors had written about the southern United States, about slavery and about colored people. I later discovered also the same thing was true in regards to the Caribbean, Brazil, and much of the rest of the Americas. Okay, so basically what they're saying is that the way that these authors before him had referred to the term mulatto, they pretty much skipped over the fact that in 1705 it was in reference to a full-blooded Indian and not only people of African and European descent. And apparently this was a practice that was done on these censuses, or also probably on slave schedules as well, in an attempt to make people believe that mulatto only applied to people of African and European descent. So anyways, tell me, what do you think about this information? Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. I'm out.